As you can see, it's a gorgeous day here in Salamina, which is kind of scary because we're well into December and we're having like 60 degrees thereabouts temperatures. It should be colder. I am enjoying it, but yeah. Anyhow, I'm going to go down to the garden today and sit and have a chat with you about all the things that I find that are so different from Greece to America. And some of them are Europe in general, but pretty much, especially Greece. So let's go down. Okay, so here we are outside under the pergola with the honeysuckle on top. Not blooming now, of course, but it might with this weather. You never know. So I'm out here to talk about differences, some good, some bad, some just different. The most obvious and the most impactful difference for me was the language, of course, as it is for anyone. Greek is not an easy language. The grammar is not easy. They say only High German is more difficult than Greek grammar. But luckily, the Greeks don't care if you get the grammar right or not, so that's not an issue. As soon as possible, I started school in Athens when we were living in the city then when I started at the Hellenic American Union. The best one was the Athens Center, but it was very expensive and we didn't have a lot of money when I first moved here. So I went there and it was really, really good, very good. But unfortunately, the next term that I went to, the really good teacher who had been pregnant was out because she had her baby. And the next one, it was like they were filling their time. They weren't, it wasn't really a language school. It was in the Hellenic American Union. And by the way, Hellenic is what the Greeks call themselves. They call Greece Elava, and Greek people are Hellenists. So finally, after a trip to the States and back, we had some money for me to go to the Athens Center. But now we lived in Salamina, so it was a 2-hour trip. Car, boat, bus, and tram, and then foot. Our teacher, Mariana, called me the hero because I came so far. But I had to. I couldn't survive without knowing how to speak Greek. Got something going on out here. I hear them digging. I hope my power isn't going out or my phone. Anyhow, so we went there, and it's a very unusual school. It's an immersion. You teach only in Greek. They don't speak English to you to teach you. And it's the school that most ambassadors and people working in the embassies go to from all around the world. So after a few days, I remember saying to Mariana, I said, I don't understand why you can't just use English to tell us like the parts of speech to, explain more as we go. And she very sweetly said, I have a story to tell you, Sherry. It's kind of a riddle. She said, what do you call someone who speaks 3 languages? And I said, trilingual. Very good. And what do you call somebody who speaks 2 languages? I said, bilingual, of course. And somebody who speaks 1 language? I said, monolingual. She said, no, an American. Ooh, realized how American-centric I was thinking because there were people there from all over the world. They didn't all speak English. Most of them spoke some English, I have to say, as a second language, but some didn't speak English. So why would I think they should teach in English? Real lesson, humbling. Anyway, I loved that school, and I made a very good friend there. A girl, actually, I remember when they went around, this girl, her name was Maureen, asking everybody where you were from the very first day. This was my impression of her. They asked her. So her came to Maureen's turn. She said, well, and I thought, what a stupid girl is this? She certainly knows where she's from. And she spoke English. And finally later, I mean, she's, well, I guess I'm from Texas. So we had coffee break together and I asked her, I said, how do you not know where you're from? You guess you're from Texas. She said, well, my mother is Dutch. No, my mother is Swiss. My father is Dutch, grew up in Jakarta, and he was in the oil business. So I was technically born in Alabama. So she has an American citizenship. Lived in Texas before I came here, because that's where she went to university, but grew up between the UK and Switzerland. I thought, oh, God, yeah. And then she married a Greek. So she was there learning the language because she was going to marry a Greek, as was I. No, I was already married. So that's my language. And I did 3 levels, and it changed my life. And the Greeks are wonderful if you even attempt to speak their language. They're understanding and they think you're wonderful. But if you go to the city, most of the people are going to speak English. And if you don't speak English, if they don't, you just find a teenager. All teenagers know. Okay, the next most impactful thing was the temperature. My husband didn't know to tell me or failed to tell me that I was cooking with Celsius. And I'm like turning this oven to blast because it only went to like 300, thinking, geez, what's the matter with this oven? So I would put in a meatloaf, and of course, it came out charbroiled on the outside and raw and bloody on the inside. So that was a big, huge impact. And it took a very long time. And it was when I finally met his daughter that I figured it out. So, what else? Okay, power. It's direct current, not alternating current. So, because my husband would get absolutely crazy if I put a nail in the wall, because if you hit a line, you would die because it's direct current and you can't let go. Like in America, it's alternating current. So that wasn't as impactful for me, but it was one of those things. Something to know. This is not bad or good. It was just something that took me a while to figure out. The ground floor is just that. It's the ground floor. The first floor is the floor above the ground floor, which can be confusing to an American and sometimes very funny. I remember the supermarkets here, Greece is like not even as big as the state of Florida. So there's not a lot of land mass. So things go up instead of out. In Florida, everything's big and out. In Greece, it goes up. So supermarkets are 2 and 3 stories high, which, going up in an elevator with your cart is funny to me. Anyhow, pushing the buttons, I ended up on the roof because the elevator will go all the way to the roof, so you have access to the roof. The roofs are flat. So here I am with my shopping cart on the roof. So that's kind of something funny. Oh, shop hours. Shop hours. Oh, but that's probably all of Europe, I think, may be this way. I remember in Germany it was this way years ago when I was in Germany. They closed in the middle of the day, like 2 to 5, the shops were closed. Well, that was a carryover from farming days when people worked in the farm, on the land, or just locally, and they'd go home for lunch. So this carried over here to Greece. It's not as observed like in the cities as it once was, but still on the island and smaller cities and smaller private shops usually close at 2 or 2:30 until 5. Now, here on the island, what they do, they alternate days. And then one day, say like 2 days a week, they're open until late, but late is usually 8 o'clock. I don't think anything stays open till 9 o'clock. And almost nothing is open on Sunday except in the city. So that's a biggie. What else have I got? Oh, pharmacies. There are no chain pharmacies here. The pharmacy must be owned by a licensed pharmacist, and they have great leeway. They are really good even at small diagnosis, and we've been going to the same pharmacist, Petros and Sophia. Sophia is the pharmacist, and her husband works with her. And it's a really close relationship between the pharmacy and the people. And then with socialized medicine, which is another thing, socialized medicine is wonderful. Love it, love it. And I have ended up in a Greek hospital, so I know whereof I speak. So you're registered with a certain doctor. You register with that doctor, and our doctor is right beside the pharmacy. So Sophia does a lot of interactions for you, and she's helped me with so many things. They give you flu shots, COVID tests, all those kind of things. And there's always a pharmacy available. They close for 2 hours in the middle of the day, 2 or 3 hours in the middle of the day, at least here on the island. I don't know about mainland, but they're not open on Sundays, of course. But there's always an emergency pharmacy in each area. So, like Sophia's, if I went there, there would be a handwritten note on her door that would tell you which pharmacy is the emergency pharmacy today. There'll be 4 or 5 listed. And the funny thing is, they're always listed, the directions, by a church. Everybody knows the name of churches here except Sherry. Sherry doesn't know the name of churches. So when it says 2 doors down from Agio Caterina, I have no clue. So I can't find the emergency pharmacy. Vasily has to go with me. But we have a very close relationship. What else? Television. Television, when we first came, there were only 3 channels. There were government channels, and they were horrible. And of course, only in Greek. So when my son moved with us when we first came, and we were getting videos all the time. Poor kid, he had nothing to do. He didn't speak the language. It was tough. He ended up staying when we went back. He didn't come back to Greece. It was too huge for him. But now we have a lot of channels, and of course we have cable. A lot of the programs are in English and other languages, but with Greek subtitles. So for me, that's great. And when I'm watching like an English language show, I can try to read the subtitles to learn new words. But the best thing is no commercials. I mean, they have commercials, but not in the middle of a show. They don't, in between shows, yes. And most of the commercials are commercials for other TV shows. Right now, coming up to Christmas, they're all about toys and toy stores. So that's television. No parking meters. At least I have never seen a parking meter, and I've been quite a few places around Greece. You will get ticketed if you park illegally, but no parking meters. Another thing that I've noticed is alcohol is not a problem here. There's no age limit. Anybody can buy alcohol. You can drink alcohol on the beach. You can have a picnic with alcohol. It's not highly controlled. You can buy everything from beer to hard liquor in the supermarket, any place. But it's not an issue. There's not a drinking problem. Uh, Most people don't go out to drink. They go out to socialize, and if they are drinking, there's always food involved. So it's just not an issue. Children start from little and drink wine. Um, I think it's a very mature attitude to take towards uh, drinking and alcohol. Driving. If you don't have to drive in Greece, don't, especially not in the city. I had a pilot friend one time tell me his experience was the further east you went, the worse the drivers were. Well, I haven't tried to drive any place east of Greece, but oh my God, driving is terrible. It's a little better now than when we first came here. We lived on a one-way street with a stop sign. I would see the police cars ignore the stop sign, which I guess stop sign was just a suggestion. If you feel like it, you should stop here. Seriously. And even go the wrong way up the one-way street. When my mom was here, I remember her saying, "What a shame they don't have turn right on red the way we do in Florida." I'm thinking, oh, good Lord. Nobody would be alive safe on the road. But they're very aggressive drivers. They're very fast. It's so funny because I spent a lot of time in England and driving there, and you never hear a horn blow. Here, oh my Lord, it's and cuss you out and give you a bad sign. This is a very bad sign. Don't do that. Yeah, so drivers are terrible. And if you don't know how to parallel park, don't drive a car in Greece. Almost everywhere you have to parallel park. The supermarket's the only one so far that I found I don't have to parallel park. A few places, but in the city, forget it. Gasoline prices are horrendous. I remember when I went to the UK the first time, and we were on a bus tour, so I wasn't driving, so it had nothing to do with me. But I remember people complaining about gas prices. So I noticed, and I thought, these prices are cheap. They're way cheaper than America. No, the price you're looking at when you come to Europe is per liter. So right now, per liter, we're paying about 190 euros, which €1 is about 125 in dollars. But that's for a liter, and a liter about a little less than 4 liters make a gallon. So you can do the math and figure out how expensive that is. And tax on cars is extremely expensive. And it's not like we drive a little um, Nissan Note, and my husband for road tax paid €225, and it's a little car. But it's not by the size of the car. It's not by the weight of the car, which one would think it would be because it's a road tax. It's by the size of the engine. And ours, thank God, isn't a big engine. But they'll give you a BMW or an Audi, something like that. It'd be really, really expensive. I had something else and it went out of my head. Oh, yes. Some of the things that I absolutely love about Greece. It is not a car culture like in America. I mean, most of my friends are just the couple, children grown and gone, and they all have 2 cars. For 2 people, they have 2 cars. We have extremely good public transportation and very inexpensive, very dependable, and very safe. Even here on the island, the buses are subsidized by the government because we don't have that many people here in the wintertime. We're full in the summertime, but so they're subsidized by the government. And those are the school buses too. So that's a very nice thing. And it is not what is the word that I'm thinking of? A consumer. It's not such a consumer driven culture like back in the States. Everything's about shopping, shopping, shopping. It's not that consumer culture. And I like that. Actually, I think the figures show that Greeks spend a larger portion of their excess cash on eating out. They love to eat out. Love that, going out for dinner. And it's a huge coffee culture. And I adore that. I mean, I'm a coffee freak. You can go, and young people can go out at nighttime. They don't have to be drinking, but you could get a drink at a coffee house. They do serve alcohol, but they can go out and sit over a cup of coffee for hours. It's a great way to socialize. Whereas our young people in America, say under 21, where are they going to go to hang out? There's no place to go to hang out. You get thrown out of any place. But here, yeah, they can sit for hours. I've done it with my girlfriends. And I'm saying alcohol, yeah. But my favorite coffee place, which is in Metropolis Square, Platea, where the Metropolis Church is. There's a cafe there that I love and I go to, and I will get cappuccino with a shot of Metaxa. Metaxa is a great Greek brandy. Well, I don't know how long I've been talking for, but as you may realize by now, I do love to talk. But I think that kind of is the catch up. Oh, I should talk about vegetables and gardening. Oh, and wine. Wine. Wine does not, the red wine, if it bothers you in the States, you'll come here and you'll find it does not bother me. And it does bother me in the States. It makes me very stuffy. I get like almost an allergic reaction. And it's the sulfides. We don't have that in the wine here. So everything, even your vegetables, everything is much more natural. Even if you go to a fast food place like McDonald's, you see the list of the ingredients in French fries at McDonald's. Between grease, here's the ingredients: potatoes, oil, salt. In America, it's like this. So eating is much more healthy here. I buy bread. When I buy bread, I usually make my own bread from the bakery. There's no preservatives, there's no chemicals, there's no anything in it. So you eat much cleaner. And one of the things I complained about when I first came here was that, oh my God, when it's green bean time, that's all you can get is green beans, green beans, green beans. When it's tomato time, I complained because you only got what was in season because it didn't do a lot of importing. Now you can get stuff from lots of other places, but it's still pretty much geared to what's in season and what's fresh and what's as local as possible. So, anything else you'd like to know about Greece that I haven't mentioned here? Ask in the comments. And if you enjoyed our little chat, give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you have. So many people have subscribed. I am so thrilled over this and thrilled with meeting up and chatting with you. I love that. And I always do it when Vasily is at the cafe so he doesn't interrupt me, because if he has something to say, he can't. It's like having a 5-year-old around. But we're going to do a video with Vasily. I have some funny stories about him that I thought would be even more funny if I had him and we shared them together. I haven't done it yet because he needs a haircut, and I'm the one that has to give him a haircut, and I hate to cut men's hair. I was a hairdresser in my other life, but I hate cutting men's hair. It's a whole different thing from cutting women's hair. So I am going to head inside. I've got some work to do to get ready for lunch. Lunch is our big meal of the day, and we have that at 3 o'clock. And then the kitchen's closed. If you want anything, help yourself. Ciao for now. Love you all. Bye.